What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Trailer Park Live here on the 2nd Street Marvel, where we're coming at you live every single Friday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And as you all well know, I usually go over my comic book pull list, and then we go in and start laughing and joking about some of the different various news things from the week, or just things that just happen to be on the top of my head, or any questions that you may have. We answer those here on the show. So if you have any questions or anything you'd like to cover, make sure you leave a comment down in the comments section. We'll get to those, or you can always give me a tweet, shoot me a message on any of my social media accounts, and you can find those on my About section. And as always, like I said, we are going to get started with my comic book pull list. But before we get into that, I do want to announce the winner of the giveaway from a couple weeks ago for this Wasp Pop. As you all know, a couple of weeks ago, I did ask the question, why were Peter Quill and Korath on Morag at the same time at the temple to retrieve the orb? And the reason they were there at the same time is because the seas on Morag, Morag is normally covered in water. The seas on Morag retreat every 300 years, gaining access to the temple, and that's why they are all there. And to be quite honest, we learned this in several different ways. There was the director's commentary for the Guardians of the Galaxy, but I believe James Gunn actually said in there 500 years. I could be wrong because I don't think I've watched that commentary on that movie. But the answer I was actually looking for was from the, oh man, what was that? I believe it was the Guardians of the Galaxy Prelude comic, in which the Collector actually says this to Gamora, because he was sending Gamora to go after the orb as well. So, again, I guess not again, Joe's Geek Show, you are the winner. You are the one who answered the question correctly. And get a hold of me in the About section on my page here, and I can, get me your details, and I can get this sent out to you. And I don't know how to say that last name. Inyuk? I don't know. I feel bad that I'm butchering his name, because you know what? The art in this book, I mean, on the covers that he's been doing, they're awesome. He's done, I believe, the last two. He did the covers on. Super fine art. This dude, I actually don't know if it's dude, but I call everybody dude anyway. Does some very legit art. Now, the second issue I have is Uncanny X-Men number 13. Now, I have been doing some catching up on these X-Men issues. They have actually been very good. I'm liking the story in them. The art is really good. I haven't really read X-Men in a long time, and obviously they just started back up with the Uncanny X-Men, but so far the story's been good, the art's been good. I'm actually really digging it. I almost was thinking about doing some giveaways on these and giving away these issues, but I'm really digging them. I'm liking them. So sorry, X-Men fans, I don't think I'm going to be parting with these ones. The next one on my pull list is Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 16, HU. Now, what that is The Hunted. This is a little series they got going on in the Spider-Man series right now. And there will be more on that coming up. I'm getting ready to do a review on some of the Amazing Spider-Man run so far on Nick Spencer's Spider-Man. So make sure you stay tuned for that, and make sure you check out that video, because I will be going over that, and I'll probably be going over a little bit more. Now, the next issues I have here aren't part of my pull list, but they are issues that I wanted to pick up. And I believe on this next one I forgot the issue number 2. But I did like the first issue. But this one is Champions, issue number 3, and look at that cover. I mean, Is that cover not super legit too? Look at that. That's a pretty legit cover, and that's not even the variant edition. That's just like the regular one. I actually wasn't gonna pick this up at all, and then I was watching Comic Books University, and Professor Bill actually was sitting there talking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I was like, I completely forgot to. I went back and actually read issue 1 because I didn't pick up issue 2 yet, and I got to go back and pick up issue 2 because I forgot to pick that up when I picked up issue 3. It was a busy day on Wednesday, so that's why I didn't have that. That's why I forgot to pick up issue number 2. Now, the next one I have here is a real treat. Now, and I heard somebody else mentioning that I should check out the other series they just did, and I was going to get it on a trade, but we've got Cosmic Ghost Rider Destroys Marvel History, issue number 1. I believe this one, again, is going to be a 5-issue run as well. Maybe 6. I honestly don't know. But regardless, I thought it was cool. I heard, this character, Cosmic Ghost Rider was pretty cool. So, I figured once this series started out, I wanted to pick it up because I'm going to go back, like I said, I'm going to go back and pick up the trade on the Cosmic Ghost Rider series because I did hear that was actually really well written and was just pretty good and entertaining. Well, that's all I have for my pull list today. Like I said, it was a relatively small week, which you know what, I really appreciate because, I mean, Marvel sometimes, man, they nail us. Here pretty soon they got the War of the Realms they're getting ready to do, and, I think I'm going to pick most of those up in trades. I may pick up a couple of the issues of the tie-ins and see how those are, because I don't know, it's a lot of money. I mean, if you go look at all the issues they're getting ready to come out with, and I believe that, God, this is probably just the first month for War of the Realms. But look how many issues that is, right? I mean, look at that. Look how many issues they have there for this. That's getting, I don't know. That's a lot of issues. That is a lot of issues, and that's kicking off in April. And then here's, oh gosh, did they put the list in this issue? Because they these were the lists. Okay, yeah, yeah. And then right here, this is the next month, right? Yeah, this one's May. This one's the solicit for May, and look how many issues there are there. You know what I mean? That's a lot. That's a whole caca load of issues, man. And I'm interested in this series, but I think on these I am probably just going to pick up the trades on those. Like I said, I may pick up some of the tie-in issues because they're tying in like Punisher, X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, Punisher, it says War Scrolls, Venom, Thor, Mighty Thor, Avengers, Asgardians of the Galaxy, and I've been wanting to check out Asgardians of the Galaxy, by the way. I may pick that the first set of those issues up in trade. I was kind of interested in those. But that's, like I said, that's all I really have for my pull list this week. Like I said, I am thankful that it was a slow week. Now moving on. I'm not sure if you all seen Captain Marvel yet, but well, I'm sure if you haven't checked out my spoiler-free review, I will be having a full spoiler one probably coming out on either Sunday or Monday. But if you guys haven't seen that, I'm not gonna really talk about it right now. But you all should probably get out and see that and judge for yourself to see whether you thought it was good or not. Now before I move on, I do want to announce the winner of last week's giveaway. The other giveaway that I did for last week, that I announced for last week on the show, for Detective Comics issue number 999. Okay, all you had to do was go back and watch.
Good evening. We interrupt your regularly scheduled program with an important update from Trailer Park News. It's been a really busy week in Marvel news. With Avengers Endgame not too far away, Captain Marvel flew into theaters to drum up a little extra excitement for the upcoming film. Now, with no real sources of news, many YouTube channels once again reached to the bottom of the barrel to keep their watch time up, with more clickbait videos about confirmed release dates for the Avengers Endgame trailer, as well as theories built around mid and end credit scenes of movies they haven't even seen yet. And what kind of a week would it be without even more toy leaks? Also in recent news, The Marvelous Cosmic Emergency Always YouTube channel has confirmed that the website We Got This Covered has become a highly credible source for breaking news in the movie industry, with many of their articles being cited as sources for this recent influx of movie news. Now, at the time of this recording, we have traced many of their sources to comicbook.com, Twitter, and even Reddit, because we all know how reliable Reddit is. So watch out, mainstream entertainment news media. One good idea might be to actually trace down the source itself, or follow us here on Trailer Park News. That's all we have for this Trailer Park News update. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. I didn't have my microphone turned up, and I hope you all can hear me now. Is that a little bit better? Anyway, sorry about that. I guess we were having some technical difficulties tonight. As you can see, we started a little bit late, and obviously having some problems here with my microphone now. I hope you're all doing good today. Yes, thank you, Drawn Out Beats. I'm sorry about that. Like I said, some technical difficulties. Now, as I was saying before that, before I got interrupted there, the winner for that issue last week was Comic Man Jake. Comic Man Jake, please get a hold of me in the About section here on YouTube so I can get this issue mailed out to you. You'll find my comic or my information there. That's just a look at the comic. It was Detective Comics issued 9.99. And I am going to be doing a giveaway this week as well. This week's giveaway is going to be for X-Force issue number 1. Okay, this issue number 1 is going to be given away. I think what I want you all to do to win this comic book this week for X-Force number 1 is, why don't you tell me what's on your comic book pull list and what is your favorite current series that you are reading right now? Answer that down in the comments below to get entered into the giveaway for this comic book. You can answer that question here on this video, or I will release just the comic book pull list separately in a video soon after this. It'll probably be available here just after the show, or even tomorrow. You can go back and watch that. I will pin those questions at the top of the comment sections so you can answer those. And again, just tell me what is your current favorite, what's on your comic book pull list, and what is your current favorite comic book series that you're reading right now. That's all you have to do. And that's all I really have for my comic book pull list and all those things today. Yes, and again, thank you for letting me know about my audio. So sometimes those things can be a mess. I know I've been watching a lot of videos this week here here live on YouTube, and seeing several different channels, like big channels that I follow, that have had technical difficulties. There has been, I went live the other day when I was having some problems. It looks like YouTube has kind of updated some of their, the way you got to interface with all this stuff. And I don't know, it's been kind of tossing a loop with several people I've been following. But anyway, like I said, there's been, it seems like it's been kind of a slow week in news as far as like Marvel is concerned. And as you can see there, I was in that news clip there. It seems like there has been some, like when there's short news, people really start scratching, like really reaching for the bottom of the barrel for these news stories. Like I seen some videos out there for toy leaks, more toy leaks. It's like every week, it's like some new toy leaks. And it seems like this week's were just a repeat of toy leaks we've seen, the Lego toy leaks we've seen. The funniest thing is, like I said, I'm a theory-based channel. I just think it's funny to see some of the toy leaks on there when some of the ridiculous claims that are made about them. Like we seen in the one toy leak, we see Thanos carrying a hammer, and they're at the Avengers headquarters, and now all the theories are Thanos is going to be there with some big hammer fighting the Avengers at their headquarters. I don't know. It's just some crazy stuff. Um, I tried out streaming for the first time and it was a mess. Oh man, believe me, it is a mess sometimes. The especially if you like you're using like the streaming software, because I can stream straight from my computer here on the YouTube, but with the software, it's kind of nicer because you can do some different things. And yeah, it's kind of a mess sometimes when you're relying on like the OBS and things like that. It can be a lot of fun sometimes. Other than that, the other thing I seen aside from all these the toy leaks was there's all these confirmed dates. I've seen all these and like I said, I've said this in past videos. I'm not trying to slam on any of these other channels that do this stuff because believe me, I follow a lot of these channels that make all these like clickbait videos and things like that. And like I said, some of these guys are really reaching. I get it. We're all trying to clicks and get views and all that stuff. But like, come on, man. Like, you're running a story telling me that, and believe me, I did one too. I did a video here too, making fun of those videos, and somebody even actually called me out for it. I'm like, hey, I'm glad you caught that it was a clickbait thing. But I mean, we are trying to get views, honestly. But the other thing is that they got the point of the video because it's a little ridiculous, some of these stories you're seeing. Like you get the ones about the Avengers Endgame confirmed release date for the trailer, right? There's no confirmed release date. There hasn't been one. We know there's a week that's going to be heavy with some Avengers things. Like there's the Empire News article that's coming out on the week of the 21st. I believe it's coming out on the 21st. The day before that is actually the Spider-Man Far From Home Prelude comic is being released that week as well. And I think they said there's going to be some sort of other interview or something going on that dropping that same week. So I mean, to me, I think the chances of the Endgame trailer coming that week seems pretty high. So if it's not like on the same week as the 21st, which I believe the beginning of that week is on the 18th, 19th, if it's not during that week, my guess is it's going to be the week after. I mean, we're getting close enough to the release date of the movie that it's about time to. But and I've talked to this at length numerous times too. Is do we really need another Avengers Endgame trailer? Last year in April, last April, we got a 2.5 hour trailer for this upcoming movie. It was called Avengers Infinity War. And if that didn't make you want to go see Avengers Endgame, honestly, I'm not sure what amount of trailers will get you to go out and see this movie. Um, click Clickbait is mainly good in my opinion when the content teased is actually in the video. Yeah, and that's true. Like I said, I don't mean to make it sound like I'm slamming any of these channels because believe me, I follow all of them same channels that we're talking about here. So I'm actually a fan, but like I said, here that's not what I'm here for. Like I said, I follow a lot of these channels. One of my favorite channels, and I've talked about him numerous times, is War Stew. War Stew he gets drugged through the dirt in his comment section sometimes about being clickbait. But really, he's just got a lot of content, and like I said, everybody's trying to get the views, so it's understandable. And like I said, I know what to expect when I'm going to these channels anyway. Like I said, it's just something I talk about. You probably won't find most of those kind of videos here. I don't really cover toy leaks or things like that. I do a lot of speculation. That's one of the things I started this channel on was to do my own theory based videos. But when I do these, like I like to present my own theories. I see a lot of the guys out there presenting theories from Reddit and all those kinds of things. I just don't have that time to go onto Reddit and do that. Like I've got this stuff frying on my mind anyway. Plus when I see all the videos by some of the channels that I watch anyway and they talk about these Reddit leaks, like it gets me thinking about things, and I think we all do. We all start to pick them apart and say, okay, well that happened in this movie, they covered this in that movie, and they're kind of wrong here. So, but it's all speculation anyway, because just because it's in a movie doesn't necessarily mean that it can't be changed, and we've seen instances of that plenty in the MCU. So I take it all with a grain of salt. Like I said, it's just kind of my unique thing to, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not trying to call these people out. Like I said, I'm fans of a lot of these channels. And, there's another channel that I like to watch that I would say, they're not like me. I would say, if anything, I'm a little more like them that I follow. It's called Den of Nerds. And the guy over there, Josh, he likes to keep it real too. He likes to keep it real. It's a pretty cool channel. one that I've been following them for quite a while, and it looks like they've got a pretty good community there. They have a lot of lately. They've been doing a lot of live streams with Q&As, and I like what they do because you can tell the community there is really tight, and it's kind of full of a bunch of us geeks because nobody in there really gets crazy being like stupid or anything. Because I notice even with like all the controversy surrounding the Captain Marvel movie, even going into some of those discussions, nobody ever gets really too crazy in there. So I mean that's kind of a good thing. Like I said, they're pretty good over there, and the crowd over there is good. Um, when it isn't just the songs, and there's some of them I have seen, and I actually messaged a couple of people on a couple of the videos. I'm like, hey man, like come on, like I get being, you got to get the clicks, but come on, there's a couple of these you're being a little bit dishonest about, like just straight up dishonest. And like I said, I try not to do that here. Anytime I do something like that, you'll immediately know that I am just kidding when you pop onto the video. As a matter of fact, I did one a couple of weeks ago that got a bunch of dislikes. A bunch of people didn't like it, and I thought that was kind of funny. Um, I think the trailer was released too early. Which trailer is it? Like the first Avengers Endgame trailer, or even like the TV spot? The because I kind of think they were too, but it also got to the point where fans were actually getting like, and I don't really care because to me I think it's ridiculous that a company or a studio or anything like that should buckle to fan pressure about releasing a trailer. But fans, man, I remember at that time before that first Avengers Endgame trailer got here, man, people were getting they were getting pissed. They were acting like Kevin Feige and the Russos were all trolling them and giving him a hard time and withholding information, and it was getting pretty crazy. And I just remember like God, people like calm down. The movie's gonna come. We're gonna get the movie. We know that. Okay. There's no just like calm down. And plus and I've talked about this before too. They did say in the past when they were gonna release the title of the movie and even the trailer. And their general rule was they wanted to wait until they were sure that all of their general audience they were sure that all of them had seen the movie. And if they felt like that was December, I mean I think they were justified in waiting until December, and they probably could have waited even longer. And yeah, the first Endgame. It was a little far out there when they released it. And I've had people. A lot of people are already talking about Star Wars. They're wanting like, oh, the name of the new Star Wars movie and the trailer and everything. It's like, dude, like Star Wars. I'm good there until after Spider-Man: Far From Home. I don't need any news on that. And then I've seen some of the channels here on YouTube where that's like there's this one channel. God, I can't even remember what channel it is. I unsubscribed because like this dude makes like videos like spam. He's like spam videos. Like I seen like 5-6 videos a day just based on Star Wars, and I'm like, you know what, like. It's far enough out from Star Wars Episode 9. I don't care that much about it. Let alone, at this point, I'm just kind of not really caring about Star Wars anyway. There's just so much other news going on right now that it's kind of really on the back burner. As a matter of fact, I even had a friend asking me today about that. He's like, "Hey man, what's up with Star Wars? Showing them no love?" And I'm like, "Dude, that's for me. I think that's just so far away right now. I mean, there's so many other things that we could talk about besides Star Wars. I mean, unless you want to talk about the backlash of the Last Jedi, but that's not fun because I mean that's just sucks. I mean we could go on about that all day. But plus it was funny, as a matter of fact, the other day on in a comment section I posted, and it was about the Last Jedi, and I said, I liked the and I did like the Last Jedi. I liked the Last Jedi, but it seems like all the backlash afterward just kind of left like a foul taste in my mouth for wanting to watch it again. And I'm like, I tried to watch it again the other day. I'm like, oh man, it's kind of hard just thinking about all the just the bad things in it. Like the people were saying about it. I'm just like, I'm just not there again yet. And then somebody actually went in and was like, oh well, it's not a good movie. It's trash and all that. Like going off and like several people, it triggered several people. And I'm just sitting there laughing. I'm like, I never said it was good. I never said it was a good movie, but they're all going off about how it's a bad movie and why did I think it was good and all this. I'm like, I I never said it was good. I just said I liked it. Okay, I liked Ben Affleck's Daredevil. Okay, I like that movie. That doesn't make it good, because if there's one thing I can tell you, that movie is a train wreck. but there are things about it that I liked. And we'll end up talking about some of this here in a few minutes. But the Captain Marvel movie, if you guys haven't seen it, please don't leave any spoilers down in the comments or anything. Just not yet. I'm gonna do a spoiler thing probably. I'm gonna go see it again on Sunday, so I'll probably work on a video on Sunday breaking down more things for the Captain Marvel movie. Like I said, if you guys haven't seen it, it's gonna be one of those. If you didn't see my review that I did the other day afterward, the spoiler-free one was this movie is going to be highly subjective to whoever is watching it, okay? Cuz I can tell you I liked the movie. I thought it was good. It wasn't great. And going into it, I seen some of the other reviewers that I watched saying comparing it to like the first Ant-Man movie, the first Doctor Strange movie, and I was, I had high that gave me high hopes cuz I'm sitting there, but then I started to think about it, I'm like, but what does this person think of Ant-Man and Doctor Strange? Because me personally, I love Ant Man. Ant Man, especially the first one. The first one is really good, and a lot of that is Paul Rudd. I mean, Paul Rudd being cast as Scott Lang was perfect. He brings so much. I don't know, like realness and humanity to that role. I don't know. I just humility. I guess I don't know. Something about his portrayal of Scott Lang in the Ant Man movies is just magnificent. Like I don't know. I can't really explain it other than Paul Rudd. He's just a good actor. And like I said, Captain Marvel, it was for me, it wasn't quite there. And I think I put it probably somewhere right around maybe the first Thor movie, where it's just like because it's an origin story. It's a little bit slower paced, but this movie it wasn't slow paced. It was just the way it flowed. It wasn't like a super action packed movie or anything like that. It was like I said, it was an origin story, and the way they went about it was a little bit different from the formula they've followed in the past, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think just the way it flowed, it didn't flow quite the way that I felt it should be. Other than that, I mean, there's nothing really to complain about the movie if you ask me. I have no complaints about the movie, just things that could be improved upon. Ant Man was very down to earth and relatable, definitely, definitely, and that's something Paul Rudd. I think Paul Rudd really helped bring that to that role, and then especially once he got to play off of the girl who's playing his daughter in those movies. Man, she is excellent playing the daughter, and I in the MCU movies, I'm not sure that there's probably a performance out of another child actor that's better. Considering that there hasn't been a whole lot of child actors in the MCU, but the ones we've gotten, like I think the girl playing Cassie Lang really nailed it. And in the new Captain Marvel movie, the girl playing not Monica, is it Monica Rambeau? Yeah, Monica Rambeau. She did a pretty good job too. But speaking of Monica Rambeau, the one playing Maria Rambeau, Lashana Lynch, man, she nails her performance in this movie. She's not in it a whole lot, and she doesn't have a whole lot of lines. But there's like one particular scene that I think really like. Without that scene, it wouldn't have made this movie as good as it is. But she like nails the scene, and I was like, dang, she elevated it every like. Well, there's only the two of them in the scene, but did a really good job. Um, their combined acting was brilliant. Yes, definitely, definitely. VB Studios, how you doing this evening, man? Well, it's evening for me. I'm not sure how it is where you are. It's probably daytime where you're at. um, but yeah, like I said, the Captain Marvel movie, it's going to be highly subjective to who sees it. Ben Mendelsohn was great. The scrolls were really great. There's like I said, there's a lot of things I really want to talk about. I really wish I could talk about them, but I don't want to because I'm not sure if I have any viewers here who have not seen the movie. But the cat was really good. Nick Fury, I mean, how can we say Samuel L. Jackson, man, and they said they digitally de-aged him in this movie, but how much did they de-age him? Because I mean, Samuel L. Jackson looks pretty good in the first place, but I mean, he didn't. It didn't look like they had to do too much to him, just from what I've seen in this movie. Now the other things, okay, it is morning there. I figured it was probably morning time. Um, the other thing about that was like Nick Fury. Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson. His performance was different. A lot of people were I don't know. Some people were just kind of complaining about some things that had to do with the character. These, like I said, the scrolls were great. A lot of the performances in this movie were really good. There were some things that happened in the movie that I was kind of guessing were gonna happen anyway, and they did. And I don't know. And this movie wasn't by any means predictable. Like I said, there are some things to be had with this movie, but overall, like I said, I'm excited to see it again on Sunday, so I have more of a footing on how good I think it is. Because like I said, to me, it lands somewhere right about the first Thor movie, where it's good, it's not great. Although I think the first Thor movie was probably a little bit better than this one. And Marvel, obviously at that time, still hadn't completely perfected their craft yet, but they were well on their path at that time. Because even like the Captain America: The First Avenger, I think at that point that's right when they were getting ready for all the greatness that was to come. And even looking back, like I was thinking about, a lot of the movies, how they stand the test of time. And to me, one of the movies, I seen somebody asking this question. It was a debate, I guess. Not, it was just a question I seen. They were asking about which is the better movie. Was it like Avengers or Captain America: The First Avenger? And to me, I think it's Captain America: The First Avenger. As the first Avengers movie has, like I said, a universe kind of built around it, so that kind of helps carry it and elevate it and make it a little bit better. But also, I don't think, thinking back on it now, it's not it's not quite as good as it was back then, you know what I mean? But that's also because we got the Russos who have come in and done a phenomenal job with the last Avengers movie and going forward into the next one. But that's not to say that Joss Whedon's Avengers movies weren't any good. I just think that looking back on them now, where we're at, because we're so spoiled now, they're not quite as good as they were at that time. Not like I said, not saying they're not good because they are still very good movies. My favorite actor from any Marvel movie is probably Benedict Cumberbatch. Doctor Strange was amazing. You know what? That is very true. Benedict Cumberbatch, and he's and I honestly wonder how they got him into this project, because he's done a lot of like projects like this. I mean, similar projects, I guess. And then they bring him on as like, oh man, like they get some really good casting in these movies, and Benedict Cumberbatch was definitely perfectly cast as Doctor Strange. He's got the look. I don't know. He's kind of got the demeanor. I mean, he carries himself well in the role. And of course, we got Rachel McAdams in there with it too. I mean, that just Rachel McAdams, right? And I've talked about this before. I don't know. I even need to bring that up again. Rachel McAdams. That's all you need to know. Um, but yeah, Doctor Strange was definitely one of the better movies. And some of these movies, like some of the people underrate, especially like Doctor Strange, and especially for me, Thor: The Dark World, right there, man. A lot of people underestimate some of these movies, and like for me, like Thor: The Dark World is chock full of Easter eggs. So, and there are things it's not perfect, but I think I definitely like it more than a lot of other people do. It leaves some stuff to be desired, but there are so many Easter eggs in that movie that it's like absolutely ridiculous. Like a lot of the MCU is based on theories in that movie, the Easter eggs and things that come out of that movie. And I feel the same way with Doctor Strange. And I think it was some time ago, I was starting to watch all these movies, and I'm figuring out, like, you know what, we get a lot of cool stuff in the action scenes, but really where we start to draw theories off of and find out where all the information going forward and in the past and things like that come from are in the scenes, just in the little scenes where they're actually just having regular dialogue between characters, where it seems like they're talking about mundane things, but the mundane things they're talking about are like some of the hugest things to moving forward in some of the movies, like Bill Foster's speech to his class. It's like, oh, he's just preaching to his class. He's sitting there teaching his class and everything, like, but everything he's saying in that conversation, all the stuff in the chalkboard behind him, totally relevant stuff to what we're dealing with here. Because like I said, and I've talked about that before, in that chalkboard behind Bill Foster, he's got like, they're showing like a door. It's got a doorway with a guy that walks through it, and they're explaining walking through a doorway, and that's essentially what the Tesseract kind of does. Anyways, it opens up doorways in space for them. I mean, it basically folds space and time, so they can go basically like through jump points and things like that for when they're traveling. So. And there are, and speaking of which, that's something I want to talk about more in just a minute. There's something I wanted to talk about before I go, before I get out of here and start talking about some more. Let's see. I mean, he was in Penguins of Madagascar, so pretty easy. I don't know if I don't know if I've seen that. I don't know if I've seen that. There's a couple things before I get too far off into anything too crazy. One of the things I was noticing is a lot of people were asking, and this is just an Avengers Endgame thing right now, a really quick theory. A lot of people were wondering where Rocket was in that Avengers Endgame trailer. It shows him walking through that door, and you see the sea and everything behind him, and everybody has been talking about. They think that it's possibly like in. I was about to say Ireland, but oh man, not is it Greenland? I honestly, I honestly went blank right now. But where they were at in in Thor Ragnarok, where did they go to? Where Odin was. But anyway, everyone was thinking that Rocket was there, tracking down Thor, and I don't think that's where he is. Some people have said that they thought he was at Hank Pym's house, and I actually do think that he is at Hank Pym's house when he's opening that door. Now the thing is, you can't really, and I believe me, I went through and combed through this stuff. You can't see high enough on the door because Rocket's pretty short, so you can't see like the doorknob or anything, but you can see like the little latch there on the door. It looks like an old time latch that you would put a lock on. But the door that he's opening and walking into, that interior, the wall there, it's green and it's got the same texture as the inside of Hank Pym's house. So I think that he's probably at Hank Pym's house in that trailer. And but the placement is a little bit odd because the place he is would be in the house is like in the back of the house, like in the kitchen area where we seen in the first Ant-Man movie. So I don't know, just something that I picked out the other day. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about was I'm not sure how many of you watched the John Campea show. I'm a huge fan of the John Campea show. I think I didn't start following him until about December. He's got really, I don't know, a really good show. They talk about a lot of things. John Campea, Robert Meyer Burnett, and then they got a co-host there. And one of the things they were talking about just today, and I was like, ooh, I gotta bring this up in my show tonight because it's something I've been meaning to talk about. And you know, I'm not sure if any of you have seen my video, the Stark Sham, but I kind of went in there and kind of slammed the Starks a little, just busting Tony's chops a little bit because Tony Stark, right? I mean, we're getting ready to lose Tony Stark. I love Tony Stark. He's great. Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark, man. He was perfectly cast. If he really does die or he's not going to be around in the future of the MCU, that's pretty sad, and I think we all kind of lose in that deal. But they were talking about, um, they were talking about Robert Downey Jr. his character about Tony Stark in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, his character arc, and how perfectly written it is. And it really is. And they were bringing up their points about it. And there was one thing that I kind of felt like they didn't really touch on because they probably feel differently about the character than I do as well. But I really do love this character. But especially once you get into Civil War, was his character arc throughout the whole MCU is so perfect because he starts off like in the first one you love him like he's great in just so many ways, but by the time Civil War came out, I'm like, you know what, I've had enough of Tony Stark. F Tony Stark. You know what, Team Cap. You know what, F Tony Stark, because he went from like, I don't know, like this crazy, I don't know, like a nar like a just a drunk narcissist crazy billionaire, playboy, what is it, billionaire philanthropist, um he went from that to just like he kind of became unlikable. He kind of became a jerk, and at one point, I'm just kind of like, I don't really like him so much. And then it's all kind of come back around. By the time Infinity War got here, I'm like, especially once he got stabbed and everything, or by Thanos, it's like, no, no, not Tony, not Tony, not Tony. And like I said, his character arc was really, really well written. They follow the perfect character arc with him. And the funny thing is, the other thing that brought up in the John Campea show, one thing they were talking about was his character arc. It was kind of funny, especially when it comes to Civil War, because Tony Stark from the first Iron Man would have totally been on the same side as Steve Rogers in Civil War. But that's how his character arc just kind of changed. It just kind of flip flopped. It was really quite telling. And Yeah, and believe me, when I watched the movie, I always kind of thought that was a thing anyway. I'm like, why would like Tony just he's changed, Tony changed, and I think there's been several people out there I've heard laugh and joke about the same thing as Tony Stark is hardly, he's barely a good guy. Tony Stark is barely a good guy. Oh my God, you even got a theater cup? Yeah, I do. It's just water. It's just water in there. As a matter of fact, I've got the Captain Marvel one. I got a Captain Marvel theater cup as well that I just got at the movie the other day, and man, I've also got my Spider-Man coffee cup here as well. Um, yes, it was, but sudden medicine in my soup for my stab wound was either lazy by the writers. Yeah, um, uh, maybe so. I don't know. I feel a little bit differently about that only because only and here this is my only footing for the reason why I don't think it was necessarily lazy writing, and that's because Stephen Marcus and Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. I can never remember their names. I always get them mixed up. Um, those writers have wrote by by the time Endgame comes out, I think it's 6 movies in the MCU. And the first movie they wrote was Captain America: The First Avenger. Then the second one after that was Thor: The Dark World. Then of course was Captain America: Winter Soldier. Then Captain America: Civil War. And then Infinity War, and now Endgame. Now the reason I won't think it's just lazy writing and how it's just miraculously there, but by a miracle is I think they have that plan there because we seen in Captain America: Winter Soldier, Nick Fury had the same thing in his SUV when he was getting jacked up. He said apply the take anesthesia injection or whatever it was. Like I can't remember exactly what it said, but they advised him to take that. And he pulled it out and he took and he stabbed it into his arm. I believe that being the case, like I said, same writers. I believe that would just be a precaution that they would know to take when they're trying to make something for emergency purposes, and that's definitely one thing that Tony Stark has been working on is having a suit to prepare him for all situations. So I don't think it was lazy writing. I think it was all planned because we also see that that's what Tony Stark has been doing since forever is trying to build his suits and perfect his suits to aid in survival of when future threats come, because we even see he's talking about that's how Ultron came along and all those things, but we even see in like the Captain Marvel Prelude comic he's been working on his suits, but also even in Avengers Infinity War he actually even says when Bruce was telling him about Thanos coming, he's like he told him, he's like he's the one who sent Loki, the attack on New York, that was him. And you hear Tony Stark say under his breath, he says, "This is it." And he's talking under his breath, and I think he may be talking to Friday because he's got his glasses on and he's got communication for Friday all the time. But he's talking under his breath, and he's saying this is it because he's prepared for this. He's been preparing for this for years. So I don't think it was just lazy writing, and I don't think it was just a coincidence that he had the stuff there to help him heal. And also, uh, another huge reason that I believe that is because I do believe he is prepared. These suits and I've talked about this before too. These suits that we're getting in that we've seen all these leaks for, and I'm not sure that all the Avengers are going to wear those those quantum realm suits or whatever. I honestly think they're probably just more like space suits. And I've even found further proof of this as well. But at the same time, in Avengers Infinity War, Tony Stark is prepared because, and they even showed us right in the movie that he's prepared and has suits ready for everybody when they're going off into space and he has to release the capsule for Peter Parker for the Iron Spider. The exact thing he says is, Friday release 17A. Okay? And then, as soon as he says that, we get a quick shot, and it's like a quick blink of a shot. I had to take and record it and slow it all down because I don't have a fancy DVD player. But it shows a quick screen. They're there at Avengers headquarters, and on the little display, it shows like a bunch of different capsules. It's got a whole list of them, and you see where one of them you can see it like basically picks up, it lights up red, and it shoots out, and then it flashes, and then it just pans over really quick to the cannon, poof, that shoots out the Iron Spider suit to Spider-Man, who's gonna save him. Now, let's think of what did that Iron Spider suit do? What did it do for Peter Parker? It helped him breathe outside the atmosphere. They were in space. Now, I'm not sure that it would necessarily work for space, but I would guess it would if they were going outside the atmosphere. So there is that. Okay, we've got proof. And even in that Iron Spider suit, we've seen the little blue things all over it, just like we've seen on the suits, those Quantum Realm suits in those Avengers toy leaks. Okay, so he's got the suits ready. I'm telling you, he's got something, but maybe he does need more technology to put into him. In comes Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. At the very beginning, when they're fighting, remember, they make the joke about, why isn't Drax wearing the little suit thing that Rocket made? And Drax says, he can't because he has sensitive nipples, the sensitive nipple joke, and they go off about that. And they all had on those similar packs that were allowing them to, like, fly around and all that stuff, and I believe, they were armor as well. So, and we've heard leaks, plot leaks, and like I said, I don't completely take plot leaks into account, but I do think it's, credible to say that Rocket would work with Tony Stark to develop some new technology into those suits. And also adding into that even is Scott Lang. Once he gets back from the Quantum Realm, which if you've watched any of my past videos, you know that I believe Scott Lang will be saved from the Quantum Realm thanks to that little ant playing the drums in the end of the Ant-Man and Wasp credits. It just seems to make sense. It only brings context to that end scene. Otherwise, that end scene doesn't really mean squat, as far as we know. Like I said, for me, it's just one of my theories that I think is a pretty sound one. I don't know if you got something else that you think that ant is there for. Let me know down in the comments below. But once Scott Lang gets back from the Quantum Realm, he could actually even use some of that technology. Tony and Rabbit can put all that technology together to integrate it into these new suits. Now, you might think that might take a lot of time and all these kinds of things, but let's not forget these suits. If they're made the same as his bleeding edge tech suit, as far as we know, if it's made out of the same nanobots, they can make it into whatever they want to. That's the point of the nanobots. So they can form them into whatever. And we clearly see Tony Stark doing that when he got his Iron Man suit, making all the different weapons, making his suit do all those different things. That suit can do just about everything. Again, that's why I don't think that it's just sloppy writing. I think he's got all this stuff planned out. Now, there probably could be some sloppy writing in there somewhere because, like, how did all this stuff come about? What made him think about all this stuff? There's certainly that. And, I guess some of that would be covered under my the Stark sham video because, the Starks are a sham. They're not all they're cracked up to be in the MCU. But in the end, you could be right. It could have just been lazy writing too. I see, but I think it was too fast of a resolution after he got severely beat up by Thanos, and that is true. That is true. It's always hard to say, especially because there's all those theories about Doctor Strange was playing out these certain different ways and in time how to get it to play out to their advantage. So there's that too, but like I said, it could have easily been lazy writing. I won't admit there wasn't, but like I said, I like to give a lot of credit to the writers of these movies because these two dudes have worked together. They sit there and bounce ideas off of each other left and right, and then once they're actually on set making these movies, they're there to help do rewrites and things like that. And these two writers, I really feel are kind of the unsung heroes of these movies, and especially kind of right now at this current point, the MCU as a whole, because like I said, they've done a bulk of these films lately, and they probably need a break, man. But their writing has been pretty spot on, and I don't know. Like I said, much credit to these guys. Much credit. They've crafted a really good narrative thread through the movies that they've done. Gosh, what else was it? There was something else I was thinking about in the middle of all that we were just talking about. There's another theory. Let's see. I know what you mean in terms of the sword, but the emphasis was there when he got stabbed. Yeah, and that's true. Yeah, I said I get the argument there for sure. Now, there's another theory, that Has I've seen the theory, and I kind of brushed it off because I didn't think it was that good. I'm like, I don't know about all this. But then I started to come up with my own theorem, and I started thinking like maybe they are onto something because people have been talking about the we've had talk about Avengers Endgame where people think that they're going to be going into the future or the past to get other Infinity Stones and things like that, so they can bring them into their reality and change it. But I started thinking, because somebody else was talking about what if they just make their own stones because Shuri was sitting there studying the stone in Vision's head as she was trying to help Vision there, and like learning the molecular structure and everything of the stones. And I started to think, like I said, when I first heard this theory, I really brushed it off. But I do think it's a viable theory once I started thinking about more things, because I had another theory before I even heard that theory. I had a theory that I was working on. I'm like, but where does all this exactly fit in? And somebody's saying that this theory about them remaking the stones really seems to make a lot of sense. And how are they going to do that is a different thing. Um, Now, the reason I started to give this theory a little bit of credit was because there are instances where we see that they do exactly this. Okay, once again, I almost gave credit to the Starks. Okay, Starks are a sham. Okay, back in 1945, Arnim Zola. No, man, it was 1943, as a matter of fact. Back in 1943, Arnim Zola actually took the Tesseract and used it and harnessed it to create energy, an endless amount of energy. And he even said that. He said this will change the world, or what do you say? This will change the war, and Red Skull says it'll change the world. Now he used the the Tesseract to harness and make that endless amounts of energy. Now that's where Howard Stark started studying, because Steve Rogers lifted that Hydra tech from that Hydra base and took it to Howard Stark, which he started studying. The little blue stuff that him and that Zola and Red Skull had made, and he started studying that, and that's what led him to he was like, hey, this is a new element, and he was studying it, trying to recreate it all through the 70s up until he basically gave up, and he had that video with Tony Stark where he was saying that he was limited by the technology of his time, which was a lie because the Starks are a sham. Now, basically what happened was Tony Stark then went through later and found a way to synthesize the same thing that Arnim Zola did. So what they did was now here's where it gets, my theory gets a little out there, was they took the Space Stone and created power with it. Okay? This endless amounts of power. Okay, that's one thing down. Space Stone, Power Stone. Okay, space to create power. The next thing I was thinking of, was in Black Panther. They talk about, at the very beginning, they talk about the meteor that landed in Wakanda. Now, my theory falls apart a little bit here, because at the very beginning, as the meteor is falling to Earth and it hits Earth, it's blue, okay? Just like the Space Stone. But my guess is that it is the Power Stone. Okay, my guess it was the Power Stone that landed on Earth, but it could have easily been the Space Stone. But my thing is once it hits the soil, it turns purple and enriches everything. We get the purple heart-shaped herb. Okay, and I believe that purple heart-shaped herb came about because it was affected by possibly, I just say possibly, the Power Stone that affected the soil and made and created basically the purple heart-shaped herb. It enriched the soil, which in turn, I believe, enriched the soil and the minerals in the soil to create vibranium. Okay, so I believe that is what happened. Now, the reason I believe that, like I was saying, that we get the purple heart-shaped herb, all the stuff they make out of the vibranium. We see Black Panther's tech, the suit. When it absorbs the energy, it turns purple. Okay. So I don't think that's just a coincidence. We see it turning purple. So, and then we know that through there we get Dr. Erskine's formula. Now, I think that Dr. Erskine just happened to be able to synthesize. Maybe he got a hold of some of the, like the purple heart-shaped herb or something like that let him resynthesize the Power Stone, because that's what they essentially put into Steve Rogers' veins that made him into a super soldier. because it made him stronger, made him just all that stuff, all the things that it did for him. It sounds like the Power Stone at work, you know, and obviously it's the same thing that the purple heart-shaped herb does, because that's exactly what happens when they go through the fight, to see who's going to be king when T'Challa becomes king, is the purple heart-shaped herb. So I believe they did the same thing. Now that brings me to the Mind Stone. Okay, what did the Mind Stone do? The Mind Stone did a whole lot of things. Okay, but one of the things it definitely did was the Mind Stone. It was used, and they experimented with the Mind Stone and created Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Okay, follow me? The Mind Stone. Now we see, what did the Mind Stone do for Wanda? It gave her the power um, to basically change people's reality. She can make people see visions and things like that. And we've seen evidence of that in the movie. And her powers glow red. Okay, so like I said, I know it sounds a little bit out there. So like I said, we've got the space that can make power. We've got the Power Stone that can make, I don't know, I didn't really go where the Power Stone. What would the Power Stone make? What does the Power Stone make besides chaos? Maybe it just makes space. Who knows? Anyway, but like I said, we'd have to work all this backwards. And like I said, I didn't write any of this stuff down. I'd have to go back over it. But we do see that the Mind Stone changed Wanda to be able to give people these visions, basically warping their reality. And it is red. And so I kind of think, this theory that everybody was having was about they're going to resynthesize these things. And I'm thinking maybe there is a way to redo that. Because then that only leaves two other stones left that would be tied to each other, that you could, that would say, basically be tied to each other in the way that you could maybe use one to create the other. And that is the Time Stone and the Soul Stone. And those just seem to make sense. Because what's one thing that would last through all throughout time would be a soul. Whether it's alive or dead, the soul would always be there. So I think, like I said, I know it's really thin ice. But I think that's something that could possibly be, like a viable thing. Because like I said, I've seen some of those theories where they're talking about resynthesizing the stones, and I believe it's something that's definitely possible because we've actually seen proof of it in the movies. And that's one thing I'm definitely big on, is seeing proof in the movies that we have. Because without that, you're just taking stabs in the dark. And that's okay. It's okay to make theories just stabbing in the dark because, who knows? You could be right, 25% of the time just taking a stab in the dark. Especially if you've watched any of the movies and just kind of based it on something you've seen in one of the movies, just like loosely even. Or even from one of the comic books. All right, heading out. This was fun. Can't wait to see next week's stream. Thanks a lot, Drawn Out Beats, and thanks for being here. Thanks for checking out the stream. Have a great night, and be safe. Be safe. It's Friday. And if you haven't seen Captain Marvel, or you have, let me know what you think down in the comments. Let's see. What else is there? What else was there in news this week? Shazam. I still haven't watched that second Shazam trailer, but, honestly, after seeing the first one, I'm not sure that I need to. I was sold after seeing that first trailer. Like this, the movie, it looks really fun. And that's something they've definitely learned in Warner Brothers, something that they definitely need to do, and that's have more fun with their characters. I don't know, like I said, it does seem like they went and they took and tried to make things a little too seriously, at one point, and I think they kind of suffered for it. I think it did kind of suffer for a little while, and I think they learned from those mistakes, and they're moving forward, and they're starting to make their comeback from that, and that's a good thing, because that's something we all win, Like I said, I may come off as a Marvel fanboy, but believe me, I grew up on Warner Brothers, DC, universe type of movies. Had the Christopher Reeve Supermans, Batman movies, and I'm talking, we got Batman clear from Adam West. Although I don't think those were Warner Brothers at that time, but that's neither here nor there. there was one other thing that I was going to talk about too. Gosh, man, and where to go? I was reaching. Oh, you know what? I've got another giveaway. Another giveaway I was going to announce to you all for tonight. Aside from the X Force comic, another giveaway I'm going to do, and I'll be talking about this in my future videos. As soon as I hit 200 subscribers, I'm going to do a giveaway for a digital copy of Warner Brothers Aquaman. Okay, so there'll be more details on how to get into that. Obviously, the easiest way to get entered is to make sure that you're subscribed. You got the bell turned on so you get notifications anytime we've uploaded new content. And obviously, make sure you leave a comment. You can't get entered into a contest without leaving a comment. So make sure you comment in any of the videos of mine that you'll watch. And like I said, I will get details on how exactly to get entered into the contest for the giveaway for the digital copy of Aquaman. And I'll do that, like I said, I'll do that as soon as we hit 200 subscribers. Once I hit 200 subscribers, though, I will probably wait about a week or 2 weeks just to give it time for everybody to get entered into for the giveaway and everything like that. So, and like I said, it's nothing really all that special. It's just a digital copy of the movie. But and I'm not doing these things to try to get a whole bunch of subscribers or anything like that. I mean, these are just little things. They're just kind of my gift to you guys for watching. Just like the giveaway for the comic that I'm gonna do. I mean, it's just little stuff for you guys. I mean, am I gonna get YouTube famous from giving away a little $5 comic book? I doubt it. It's for you, for my watchers. And hopefully I gain more watchers and subscribers. I do appreciate you guys, and I appreciate you guys subscribing to my channel, watching my videos. And like I said, it's just a little way to say thank you. And plus, in case you can't tell, here on my channel, I am trying to push comic books because I think this is something that a lot of people have gotten away from, and there's probably good reason for that. I know not too long ago in Marvel Comics, they had a bunch of things going on, and people were getting really unhappy with a lot of the writing and some of those kinds of things. And I kind of get why people were getting turned off. And I've even heard people still. I've been on some chats and things and heard people talk about like, oh, Marvel Comics, they're no good. Like the story, their writing is terrible and all this and that. And I'm like, man, like a couple of years ago, from what I've gathered, a couple of years ago, I would say you probably had a foot to stand on. You had some ground to stand on. But lately, man, I don't think that you do. And that's part of my goal here is to get more viewers, or not more viewers. I want to get more viewers, but is to get more people reading these comic books. I've got plenty of channels I follow that are DC, basically like DC fanboys. Like I'm a Marvel fanboy for the comics. They're the same thing, and I've got to get into some more DC stuff. But I've been reading enough Marvel over, just like since August that, man, like some of you guys need to come back and check out some of these stories. And I've seen YouTube channels here on YouTube where people are going through and they're ripping apart comic books and they're criticizing them and all this and that about all these different things. And and I get it, but the thing is they're ripping apart the comic books that are easy to tear apart. You don't hear anybody, like you'd hear him ripping on like the all new, all different Hulk or whatever that was at the time when it was Amadeus Cho, and just like some of these things, like some of these different iterations of characters. And the thing is you might have had a ground to stand on back in the days, but now I don't think you do, because I haven't heard anybody complaining about Captain America. Okay, I haven't heard, not since Secret Empire, which, like I said, everything kind of started over last year. Not since then has anybody. I have not heard anybody complaining about Captain America. I believe I can't remember the guy's name that's doing it right now. Ta-Nehisi Coates or something. I'm not sure if I said that right, but the guy who is doing, and I'm not even sure it's a guy. It could be a girl, but the person who's writing Captain America right now is doing a phenomenal job with this character. Man, it's so awesome. Like I said, I just got back into reading comic books, and it was partially because Captain America. And, because I wanted to look into the story that everybody hated him for. But I started reading this new series that just started last year, and I'm not sure if you guys seen my review on Captain America: The Winter in America, but you should go back into my comic reviews and watch that because Captain America: The Winter in America, it's in a collected edition right now, is really really good, well written, great art, covers by Alex Ross. I'm not sure if you can see the cover on my wall right there. Covers by Alex Ross that are freaking just, man, they're off the chain. They're on fire and it's just really good stuff. Nobody's gonna gripe about Captain America. Another good one, The Amazing Spider-Man. You know, classic, another classic character. I mean, and I'm gonna do a review right now. Well, not right now, but here pretty soon, covering The Amazing Spider-Man since he's relaunched with Nick Spencer writing. I'm gonna do one of those pretty soon. It might be out by the end of this next week. Talking about the first handful of issues there because there are currently 2 trades available right now for the ongoing series of the Amazing Spider-Man, and there's so many right. There's only one Captain America one, but there's the reason there's and they started about the same time. They relaunched about the same time the series started over. But the reason there's 2 Spider-Man ones is because Spider-Man releases. It's a bi-monthly mag, so it's releasing 2 issues a month. And believe me, as somebody who I've got a couple of my comic book pull lists, and I talked about this in the video. Are they get their bi-monthly mags, and it gets expensive. But the Spider-Man ones have been really worth it, and they've been cranking out good issues over there on the Amazing Spider-Man. And part of the reason I want to do this one is because right now over on Marvel.com, you can buy the digital, basically the digital trade of Spider-Man Back to Basics, which is issues 1 through, I believe, 5. It might be 1 through 6, but I'm pretty sure it's 1 through 5 of the Amazing Spider-Man issues so far, and it's the first 5 of the new series. And I'm telling you, they've got it. They've got it on Marvel.com where you can buy it digitally for $2.99, $3. $3 is less than I spent on one of these issues. One issue. Okay? One comic book issue. That's it. So like I said, go to marvel.com, check that out. It's $3. You're getting 5 issues worth of stuff, and it's really well written. Then after that is the second one that is called, I believe it's called Friends or Foes, and it's issues 5 through 10. And that's also available, but I think it just released not too long ago. So it's not quite at the same price that the other one is digitally. So, you know, but if you have a local comic shop, you should definitely get out to your local comic shop and pick up some of these comic books because support your local comic shop. And like I said, the art in these things are really good. The other one I've been reading, I've finally been catching up on it, is the Uncanny X-Men. And I was going to put a stop to that one and just start collecting the trades because it gets kind of expensive, like I said, with all these bi-monthly issues. But man, I started reading it, and man, this Uncanny X-Men so far, I'm on issue number 6. Man, these issues are really good, and the art in them is good. So, man, I think I'm gonna keep going with the Uncanny X-Men. So, you know, like I said, these are just some of the things that, like I said, you can go here on YouTube and search up comic books, and like I said, you'll find a bunch of people tearing down and ripping up these comic books and trashing these companies, Marvel and DC, writing a bunch of social justice warrior crap and comic books and la la la. Man, read the classic characters. If you don't want something that you feel is being like a social justice warrior kind of book or something, like, okay, then stay away from like Champions or Miles Morales Spider-Man. Things like that, because these are the characters that people are griping about, and I get why, but you know, still, I mean, don't read those characters. But then you go watch the videos, and that's the characters they're tearing down. Obviously, everybody's tearing down Captain Marvel right now, not just not the movie, the comic books. Partially because of the movie, but the comic books too. And I get their argument because recently Captain Marvel has had plenty of instances where she's kind of been rewritten. You know, she's had a bunch of number 1s lately. And, you know, so I get that. But, you know, at some point, you know, that's not one of the old classic characters. Now, she has been around for a while, but that was as Miss Marvel. So yeah, I mean, maybe they just need to revert the character back to that, if anything. But at this point, it's like too late because then that means they elbow out Kamala Khan, and if they do that, there's going to be a bunch of backlash. Because a lot of people really like Kamala Khan. I haven't read enough of the character to say for sure that I really enjoy that character, but she's a pretty good character in the movies. I could see you know there's been talk about them possibly doing putting Kamala Khan in a movie sometime in the future, and I think that'd be a good idea. Like I said, it's a pretty cool character, and they're kind of building a universe, so I mean, it's completely possible. What else? What else do I have to talk about? Like I said, I'm gonna be doing a couple of reviews on some of these trades. They're getting ready to come out. Like I said, part of my thing here is to get people to read comic books as well. Um, what else was there? There was something else I wanted to touch on. If you guys have anything, feel free to leave a comment down in the comments section, and I will get to anything else. Um, there was, man, what else was there? There was also we could laugh about the news from earlier in the week too about, I seen these stories where they're talking about Kevin Feige, or they're talking about, no, it wasn't Kevin Feige confirmed. They're talking about the future of the MCU, the movies coming up, and how they've got ideas for the Fantastic Four movie and all this and that. And I'm like, uh, where'd you get that news from? You realize that they haven't released released any of those movies yet. I can guarantee they've got movies in production and everything. Because just because they haven't announced the movies doesn't mean they're not making them. Do you think we're not going to get at least two MCU movies next year? What two would those be? According to just anything we know right now, it's only the Eternals, right? But then we're hearing all this Fantastic Four stuff and all these other different things. These are properties they don't even have yet. So I mean, for them to have them in development, I mean, think again, man. Like I said, check your sources on this stuff because, like I said in my other piece earlier, man, we got this covered seems to be the source of a lot of these news stories lately, and I'm telling you, these guys are a joke. Okay, and I'm not telling you that they're 100% uncredible because some of their sources go back to more credible sources like comicbook.com and things like that. Another one of these jokes that I've found lately is a website, and I've got to look a little more into them. I've only checked out their site like twice, but cosmicbook.com. Okay, like I said, clickbaity stuff. Like I said, I'm not trying to slam any of these people because I mean, people got to make money, and if you can make money making these articles, that's fine. I mean, the Onion's out there. The Onion exists, and to me, that's sometimes that news seems more real than the real news. So, yeah, that's really that's about it. I can't think of anything else that I've got to cover today, folks. Like I said, I will be doing probably another discussion about Captain Marvel and everything. Probably here over the weekend. I'm gonna go see it again on Sunday. Like I said, it's gonna be a highly subjective movie to how much somebody likes it. Like I said, I know my kids are gonna love it. I like the movie. It's not a bad movie. It was a good movie. Like I said, it just got some shortcomings of things that could be improved in the movie. A lot of the digital effects, some of them could be brushed up and look a little bit nicer. I mean, I think but again, it's the one thing like comes out of like the Aquaman movie. One of the things I talked about in my review for that, and I may do an updated review of that movie. But the balancing act, they didn't balance their budget for the Captain Marvel movie maybe as good as they should have, or could have, because like I said, I think they could have spent a little bit more money in the digital department brushing up some of those CG scenes, and a little bit less in some of the scenes where they didn't need it as much. Like I said, James Wan did a good job in the Aquaman movie with the balancing act. Maybe Ryan Fleck and Anna Boden could take a page out of their book the next time they go make a movie. And like I said, that's all I have for today. Thank you all so much for tuning into the Second Street Marvel. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and make sure you check down in the comments, or not down in the comment section, but check down in the description. There are links down there for companies like the Mountain Man Nut and Fruit Company. The Mountain Man Nut and Fruit Company are the purveyors of fine nuts, dried fruits, chocolates, and candies. The Mountain Man Nut and Fruit Company has been in business since 1974, I believe. 1970. Since 1977. So that puts them about a year older than I am. And they've got a bunch of different like nuts, candies, chocolates, all kinds of different goodies. You can go down to the link down in the description, browse from hundreds of products to have delivered straight to your door within the greater United States. And some of them you can't even have, if you get chocolates during the summer months, you can have ice blocks put in them so your chocolates don't melt on their way to you. Also down in the description are some links for the Vigilantes for Children website, where you can go and follow them on any of their social media sites. And there's even a link to their online store where you can go buy shirts, hats, and decals, koozies, just all kinds of things like that to show your support for their cause. Also, while you're at it, why don't you check down there and find all my links where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and even Twitter. Follow me on all my social media accounts. If you have anything news, any funny things throughout the weekend, through the week, make sure you drop me an email, shoot me a message, anything like that, to give me more topics to talk about here on the show. Maybe it's something I might actually do a video about throughout the week. It's really hard to say. Like I said, thank you all so much for tuning into the Second Street Marvel. Again, any of the winners from tonight's show, Geek Show Joe, please get a hold of me so I can send you this Wasp Pop. Okay? You won this Wasp Pop, man. Morag, those seas retreat every 300 years. Joe's Geek Show. Get a hold of me in the About section for the giveaway details, and give me your details for that giveaway. Also, Comic Man Jake, make sure you get a hold of me, get your information to me, so I can get this issue mailed out to you of Detective Comics issue number 999. Make sure you do that. And then also, the other giveaway I was doing today, don't forget to put down in the comments, either on this video here on the Trailer Park Live, or even on the comic book pull list that we'll be releasing here either later tonight or tomorrow, my comic book pull list. Put in there what is your current favorite comic book that you're reading right now, and what was on your pull list this week. Pretty simple enough. 2 little things. What's on your comic book pull list, and what is your current favorite comic book series, to get entered into the chance to win this X-Force issue number 1. And also, as I said, don't forget, make sure you're subscribed. Click the little bell so you get notifications anytime we have uploaded new content. Make sure you share this video with a friend. Make sure you comment down in the comment section, because remember, like I said, I am going to do a giveaway as soon as we hit 200 subscribers for a digital copy of Aquaman. So, make sure that you're subscribed. Click the little bell anytime we have uploaded, so you get notifications anytime we have uploaded new content. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. While you're at it, make sure you share this video with a friend and invite them to come hang out with us here on 2nd Street. Have a great night.
Lay around and watch TV, not doing much is a life for me. Could take a shower, cause I really think, but nah, I think I'd rather drink. I get off on pushing my luck, and I'm much better off when I'm totally drunk. I know one of these days my time will come, but until that, they give me a bottle of rum. Wake up at 2 or maybe 3.